Yo, what's going on YouTube? Real quick, Houston, what are you doing? like what are you doing? They missed 27 three-pointers in a row. I don't know what the stats are, but that's got to be the worst stretch of any team ever. Like, that's pretty bad. At a certain point, I feel like the coach has to do something different because clearly it's not working if you're missing that many three-pointers in a row. And it doesn't help that you're at home because every time you miss a three-pointer, you can just feel the energy of the crowd just completely be sucked away. That's the benefit of having home court advantage. That way, if there's a Game 7 scenario, you have the advantage of your crowd. And when you have a great first half and then just another terrible second half, it really raises some eyebrows. Like, without that terrible shooting stretch over the third and fourth quarter, they probably could have won. And let alone with CP3, right? So they had definitely a good chance to go ahead and take this series and advance to the finals. They completely blew it. The shooting was terrible, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. I'm like, oh my god, the Warriors are going to go back to the finals for a fourth straight time, and they're probably going to beat the Cavs, and that's going to be unsatisfying. But here we are. It's going to be Cavs and Warriors Part 4. Now, if we look back towards the start of this whole quote-unquote rivalry, that first year, you could argue that the Cavs should have won. Unfortunately, during that finals run, Kevin Love was already injured, and then Kyrie Irving got injured at the very end of Game 1. And I remember looking back on that series, and the media were talking about Matthew Dellavedova as being the quote-unquote Steph Curry stopper. And he played great defense, but obviously, when you really have a depleted roster and you have some pieces that are doing somewhat work against a really good team, then you're going to give them praise. So, good for them. But they don't even have that at this point. I would say this team is a little bit better than that first finals run when LeBron came back with the Cavs 3 years ago, but not by much. So then you go to the following year when it's the 73-win team, and they're looking unstoppable, and they just had the perfect storm of instances to happen that allowed LeBron and the Cavs to take it back and to win in that Game 7 series. Because I remember Draymond Green was suspended for Game 5, and then somebody was injured in Game 6 or whatever, as well as Game 7. I think Bogut, yeah, so he was injured Game 6 and 7, and then somebody else was injured in Game 6, and then supposedly Steph Curry was kind of like not 100% that entire series. It is what it is. If he's playing, he's got to play. You know, there was just a mixture of different things that allowed the Cavs to get back. And what a lot of people forget too is, like, just because the Warriors had those few instances where they really kind of let the ball go with that series, the Cavs also needed to be really good to take those games, to go ahead and advance. And you could have argued last year that last year could have been a 6-game series. Obviously, you know, Durant in that, what was it, Game 4, kind of ripped out their hearts. But it happens, you know. And this year, unfortunately, unless something crazy happens where either Curry or Durant gets injured, right? And then maybe like another piece is injured, like Iguodala is still injured or whatever. It's not like they have a deep roster to begin with. If one of those key players is injured, I could see something start to happen, because think about it. With the 7-game series, and especially the way LeBron has been playing this year, home court advantage is huge. Alright, so ideally he can win his home games, assuming, and this is only assuming, that one of the star players for the Warriors is injured. If that doesn't happen, then I'm sorry, LeBron, you're probably going to lose in 5 games at best. But we thought the feat of defeating the Warriors was impossible 2 years ago. Granted, this team is better in terms of star talent, but you know, if we thought it was impossible 2 years ago for the Cavs to beat them, can you even imagine what would happen if the Cavs beat them this year? Oh my god, there would be so much GOAT conversation with LeBron and Jordan. It would be really, really interesting to see. I think it would be just desserts too, because even though I don't mind players kind of moving around how they want to, I do think when you get a lot of those players stacked in the way that team was, because that was a 73-win team. You know, that was an all-time great regular season team, and they probably should have won the championship that year. So from going to that to then adding the second greatest player on the planet, as most people would consider it, it doesn't really make me feel good as a fan, because like, man, that's not fair. But at the same time, when you have these all-time great teams, it's going to seem unfair, regardless of how the circumstances of them being put together are. And one more thing I want to point out before I forget, it must really suck to be CP3 right now. This guy's had a pretty good career. Unfortunately, hasn't had too much playoff success, and for the most part, it really hasn't been his fault. And unfortunately, he probably could have advanced to the finals this year, but these basketball gods really don't go easy on him. He got injured again, and because of that, now they're going to have to wait till next season to even try to get back to where they were. So it's going to be a long grind. I really do think that if they stay together, if they keep up that team, if they just keep working at it, they'll be good. But I mean, it's the luck of the draw. It happens. Injury is a part of the game, and it can help you and it could also screw you over. But then again, they had a chance to win without him, so yeah, they just blew it. Trevor Ariza, what is wrong with you? What do you do? Alright guys, but thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know what you think of these digital illustrations. Soon I'm going to switch it back and kind of go back and forth between the digital illustrations and the hand drawings. I know a lot of people have been asking for how to draws lately, so I'm going to start incorporating more of those back as well. As always, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.